start. We got a special guest today. We got Mr. Omar. We got Ariana. We're about to go on again too. You know how we do. All right, Mr. Omar, thank you for even taking the time out here.
Appreciate it.
Keeping it raw. We keeping it raw.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna dive into a little personal stuff first, and then we're gonna get straight into it. We got to do the accolades thing.
Okay.
So if you don't mind me asking, oh wait, I forgot. If you don't mind me asking, how much have you made over 6 figures doing music?
Over 6 figures making music?
Yeah.
I would say quietly, yes. A lot of people don't know that yet, though. You know, that's from me learning the business at an early age. You know, so yeah. So I would say yeah.
Okay. Now get into that. We're about to go on and get into the whole thing, people. So how did you start? Like, what got you? Was like, you know what, this music thing is what I want to do. Let's rock with it.
So I wouldn't necessarily say it's how I started. It's mostly what I knew that I was supposed to be doing, right? So from a child, I started playing drums, tinkering around with little drums as I was little, and didn't know that I had a gift playing drums. Well, let alone, it was bigger than that because I had an ear for music. That was the key element right there, right? So as I got older, other things started coming out. I always wanted to, you know, I think it started happening when I was in my teenage years, you know, when I was doing mostly like playing for other people. I would always want to change up something. Like I would always want to change up something. I could like see people right now just like, why you just play the song? Why you always want to switch it up? But had I not, I never knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing, like composing and arranging and, you know, making stuff make sense. You know what I'm saying? Just having something different, having my own creativity style. So that's pretty much how it all came about. It was more of a, it was something that I was born to do.
Really?
Yeah. So like this wasn't nothing like I was taught. I didn't, there was no teaching. There was no schooling, no classes. There was a lot of mentoring and stuff like that, but there was never no schooling or anything like that. All this stuff that I do come naturally.
Interesting. I'm glad that you said that came natural to you, because I know there's a saying that. What is your thoughts on the saying of people that are naturally gifted versus hard workers? You know what I'm talking about? Like, do you think that people that are naturally gifted compared to hard workers, do you think hard workers would beat naturally gifted people?
Do I think there's a difference between those two?
Yeah.
That's a tough question because I would say. That's a tough question. But to be honest, they kind of, like, in other words, that's almost like saying is one more easier because you're gifted with it versus the other people have to go to school and learn it. Actually, I'll say it like this. I'll say it like I want to. Favor ain't fair, as Bishop says. That's my bishop, Bishop T.D. Jakes. Shout out to Bishop T.D. Favor ain't fair. Sometimes God drops dimes and nuggets on certain people and not other people. Favor ain't fair sometimes. It is what it is. You know, it's not for you to be boastful about it or proud about it to other people, but sometimes you get dropped those nuggets to be a blessing to other people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Look at Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is how she is and who she is because she gives to people and it comes right back to her. You understand what I'm saying? So the same principle would apply for anybody else that God gives them a natural talent-born gift or whatever you want to call it, to help other people, not to just sit up on your gift and just use it for yourself. Like, help other people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's how I would look at it.
If you got any questions, you can take the mic. You got any questions?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can just take the mic.
So, okay, what's some advice that you would give an artist who is, like, finding their sound, searching for who they are as an artist? What's some advice that you would give to that person?
For trying to find their own distinctive sound?
Yeah.
I would say get in your own closet, your own, probably your own meditation time, and just find yourself. First, you got to find out who you are first as a person. Then try to erase everything that you have heard, listened to from other people, and just find your own creativity side, because that's the only way you're going to find what it is that you do. But trying to sound like somebody else or do something somebody else or similar to somebody else, that's not going to be authentic, and the audience and the public will spot that out like a wolf.
Right.
very quickly, you know. So that's what I would tell people that's coming up to finding their own sound. It may sound, here's this, it may sound horrible and it may sound stupid to you. That's how it may sound. And people may even tell you, that sound crazy. So what? They said that same thing with Prince too. Prince is an icon, right? He's an icon. There'll never be another Prince. There'll never be another Michael Jackson. Those are one-time people ever in this world. You can sound like them, but you will never be them.
Right.
They had their own distinctivity and their own flavor. So that's what a new artist coming up has to do. They have to be able to have their own thing.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
So-
just adjusting volume.
Like, another question would be, you know, what does it mean for music to sound dated? And is there such thing as dated? Because, you know, like the older music, you could say that it's dated, but it's also timeless. You know, that's what makes it great.
But
So
what in
do
type
you-
of in what type of setting, or what type of, you have to be more elaborate with that when you said dated, because some old school stuff, of course, we still listen to nowadays anyway. Like some of the old Anita Baker. I love Anita Baker stuff, right? So I still pull some her jams out. That was done a long time ago. So are you meaning like a current artist with some older material, or just dated in general with any artist?
So that's the thing. Like, okay, I don't know. So here's the thing. When I've had a few songs that I've worked on, and I played it for a few people, and something that will come up is like, oh, this sounds dated. And it's like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean? What's dated about it? It sounds
Old.
good. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what makes it sound,
Fresh.
you know, like, how can you...
Well, that's another thing. That's another point about what you just said beforehand. And I'm telling you this out of experience. What may sound dated to that one person may be fresh to somebody else,
Right.
because it's different. You understand what I'm saying? It's different. So you can't let your naysayers control your fate or your destiny when it comes to music, because it's always you're not going to please everybody in this world. There ain't nobody in this world that's everybody's going to like that one person. Unless even God is not liked by everybody. You got some people that don't even believe in God, right? So that goes to show you right there. Just do you and do your own thing. Don't worry about what other people tell you to do. You just do you and make it happen, because they gonna like you. You got some people that's gonna pay to see you do something. Them are the people you need to focus your attention on, not the other people.
Ooh, that's actually really good. And I'm glad that we actually touching on this this topic, because the reason why is we're going to talk about like dealing with rejection, especially with you, Omar, in the music industry. How have you dealt with rejection along your journey, and what are some stories of that?
So rejection, big topic, big topic. So where could I start on that at? I remember when I was younger, I remember my mom's, no disrespect to my moms, I love my mom to death, but we always bump heads. I remember when we first when I first started messing around and wanting to take it to a different level from playing drums. My mama shocked me. She actually took me up to a store that I knew about, that all my other friends knew about, and she actually bought me a recorder and a microphone. I couldn't even believe it, because she always was like, you ain't gonna make no money doing this music stuff. She didn't believe it, or it was either a case in point of that, or she didn't think I took it serious enough.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because all mamas back then in them times was like, you ain't gonna make no money on doing that. You ain't gonna make no money playing these video games. The game done changed. 20, 30, 40 years later, the games done changed. So that was one point of rejection. As I got older, rejection started getting bigger. It was like it was spinning out of control. It just started gradually getting bigger and bigger. You know, I had people try to, like, radio stations wouldn't play my stuff. You know, this type of stuff. People that I tried to go to for help. Everybody always wanted something. And when it got to the major side of it, I had to, for example, I was married. I had, on my first marriage, I was married with three children at that time. They were all little too. And I end up leaving them behind. Most people ain't gonna like what I got to say, but it is what it is, because I felt that I needed to do something that I needed to do to better for my children. I left, and me and the moms were still talking, but you know, it was kind of like up and down, right? So I left and went down to Florida. Florida. I knew some people down in Florida that was in the music scene that was very heavy hitters down there. And I went down there, stayed down there for about maybe 6 months. I was like, man, I just ain't feeling this. This ain't my cup of tea. They wanted me to change over into somebody else who I wasn't. Then that wasn't me. I can't get away from who I am, you know. And the offers were great. I mean, the offers were very great. So I left there disappointed, rejected, and everything, and drove. I had a 1997 Chevy Camaro with T-tops, navy blue, man. That was my favorite, one of my favorite cars back then. I drove that car. I was so hurt. I drove that car from Miami, Florida, all the way to Los Angeles, California.
No.
Straight. I only stopped to get gas. 30? That's it. It's a couple days. It's about 2 days. It's about 2.5 day drive. What? Non-stop. Like I stopped maybe for a couple hours and just got a leg rest or something. But I was so out. It was burning in me so bad to get what I wanted to get. And then on top of the hurt, that pushed me even further. So I drove straight from Miami, Florida to Los Angeles, California. That's a long drive. That's a serious commitment. Now, mind you, with the family still back in Michigan that I just left. Little small children, right? So when I got to California, stayed out there for about, I don't know, maybe a year or two. And the cost of living, oh man, the cost of living out there to try to maintain out there in that industry out there on a whole nother different level. Yeah, water $6, $7, $8 back then. I don't know how much it is now. So I worked my little angles out there, and I was like, man, you like this ain't gonna work for me. Like this, I'm a Detroit boy, Flint guy, and I was like, this ain't gonna work for me. I was like, look, at some point in time, you got to step into reality. So I left. Matter of fact, I left my car. I was so pissed. I left the car there, and I had to call back home. I didn't want to do it. I called my uncle. I was like, look, I need to get back home because I'm out here in L.A. And I was like, I don't have no more money for no gas. I was out of money. I took all of the money that I saved up and stacked up, left that car out there in it was some party store in Compton. It was Compton, California. I never forget this. I was a little wild boy back then, right? Yeah. So it was in Compton, California. I left that car at the party store and it called my uncle. Matter of fact, the store I was at was where the Western Union was at. So I got the money, and some girl or some people or whatever was in front of the store. They was like, the Greyhound was right down there. Just so happened I happened to be right by the Greyhound. I happened to be right by the Greyhound was within walking distance. So I left the car right there, left the keys right in it. Didn't even care about it.
You left the keys?
I left the keys right there in the car, man. Luggage, everything. I was so pissed off because I was like, man, this is not happening again. And I got on that Greyhound bus, man. I ain't looked back. I never went back since. Never went back. And I was so pissed. People was like, long story short, I think a month later, the sheriffs called me and was like, you know, you got a car registered to your name that's out here. We got it in our impound lot. What do you want to do? And I was like, man, you keep that car. I don't want that car. That's how it was. I was that pissed.
Dang.
You know, so that was my major rejection. And then the biggest one after that was with the record companies, because I went to every last one of them. You name them, from Sony. I went there a couple of times. I think it was Arista at the time. They were out. Verity Records was there. That was a subsidiary of another major company. Went to Universal. I went to all of them myself. I went out there and just stayed out there and just kept trying to get in. They kept kicking me out, and I was like, man, I'm done with this.
To the physical company?
Yeah, I went to the actual physical locations, like just trying to I had my stuff in my hand. Like when I left Compton, California out there, I had that little disc. You see what CDs back then. I had them CDs. I ain't had no clothes or car, but I had them CDs though, right? I just wanted them to see what I could do. Like, it was raw, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that was my determination. Like, I knew I had something that I needed to do, but I just needed to prove to these people. So, anyway, long story short, I got back to Detroit, had to regroup, got back with my family, chilled for about a year or two, didn't do nothing. I was like, man, but always, music was always still there. So it kept coming back up. So I had another opportunity. I was like, okay, what can I do different? I said, I need an entertainment lawyer. So got an entertainment lawyer, Gregory J. Reed, down in Detroit. Did the Rosa Parks stuff. He helped with the Rosa Park soundtracks and stuff like this. Major entertainment lawyer. Oh, wow. So got with him. And I was like, man, how much do we need? I was like, how much we talking about? I was like, I just need a record deal. He was like, look, my retainer is like 5 G's. I was like, 5 G's? I said, what am I going to get 5? So again, I reverted back to the street level, right? And I figured it out. I got him his cash, dropped it off to him, and he called me back. And, you know, I had my little bios and all that stuff together, whatever. And about a couple months later, he called me back and was like, Donnie McClurkin, their record label wants that song, Breath of Life from You. That's what they want. I was like, really? I was like, they don't want the whole album. They just want that song. And I thought about it. I went back. He said, just think about it. So I went back home, and I was like, wait a minute, man. This don't sound right. Like, you just want just one song. So I thought about it, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do this, man. Because I'm like, if they offer me X amount of dollars for just one song, that means I don't own the song anymore. That means I don't own my publishing, as I spoke of earlier. I don't own no publishing. I own the copyrights, but I don't own they wanted publishing, and they was going to give me the money for the song. So meaning I couldn't tell nobody I wrote that song. Right? In other words, it was one of them type of deals. And I was like, no, I'm not finna do this. And my lawyer was like, you sure? I was like, I'm positive. I don't want to do that. You know, and Donnie McClurkin wanted that song. He wanted that song bad. Because, like, back then, when you submit something and whoever submitted for you, they listen to it and they may give it to another artist because they may feel that artist can produce that song and make it do more numbers than you can. That's great. That's what they call those back end deals, where you're just a writer or a composer or production deals. That's what they call them back then. So it's still the same thing nowadays, right?
Right.
So that was that, and I said no. So 6 months, I went another 6 months, waited another 6 months. He called again. It was like, I got something else for you. I was like, what you got now, man? What's up? The dude, I think his name was Sam something. Sam Cooke. Y'all know who Sam Cooke? Y'all heard of Cook? Sam Cooke. That name sound familiar? Okay, well, I think his daughter, I think he had a daughter. I think it's what my lawyer said. It's been so long ago. I try not to remember a lot of this old stuff. But Sam Cooke, he was shopping a deal with me and hit Sam Cooke's daughter. I think that's who it was at the time, to this record company that I wanted to get with. And he said, I'm going to see what I can do. He said, well, they're interested, but they only want her. And I was like, well, why? They say because they just don't feel you're ready yet. I was like, what do you mean I'm not ready yet? Like, what do you mean? So I was like, okay, whatever. So I was done. I was through with music. I was like, man, whatever. I'll just do local stuff. Whatever. Who cares? So I got pissed. And that brings us to now. All of that, and I didn't know from back then what was going on and what was happening. So I just left music alone, man. I went back into trucking. You know what I'm saying? I bought people's album, listened to it, went back into trucking. I always have liked to drive trucks. And one day I was just like, man, well, look, I need to do something. Like, I'm feeling this urge again, and it's so strong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this urge keep coming back.
About that.
You know? And it was like, God was telling me, like, look, you need, like, I did that so you can get yourself together. He said, because now this time when you do this next album, you're going to change the world by yourself on this one. I'm going to help you, but you got to trust me on this one. So 8 years elapsed and passed by. I didn't do nothing in music. Nothing. I ain't touched nothing. I ain't had none of this. I ain't do nothing in 8 years. From that first album, that little raw cut album and all that little stuff, 8 years. Maybe been 10. Maybe been 10 to be exact. I ain't do nothing with me. I ain't want to do nothing with music. I had a little trouble with the legal system or whatever. Little child support, little issues. Take care of your kids out there, people.
Take care of the kids.
You know, and what had happened was I end up, that time that I was incarcerated, I wrote a whole nother album. It ain't this album that I'm finna produce, that I'm finna put out now, but that's in the vault, in the back there. The one that I wrote when I was incarcerated. That's on a whole nother different record scale. That ain't even got nothing to do with gospel. That's how deep this one is. But this one here was something that I did before all of that. And I didn't finish it up, right? It was just something that was there. And God was like, you need to get this out. He's like, you need to really get this out. So 10 years later, which is today, we back at it again. And now we're getting ready to release it the right way. So in other words, I'm telling everybody out here is just follow your purpose, do what you're supposed to do, and put God first in everything that you do. Always know what your purpose is, because if you do not know what your purpose and your plan is, or your distinctive purpose is to do out here in life, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be a lost soul. You're just gonna be wasting time and going around in circles. See, I know what I'm here to do and what I was put here to do. No matter how I don't like it, or I may not like it at times, and how others may wanna jabble about this, that don't matter to me, because that just lets me know that's another indication that I'm still on the right track. If you don't like, or you got something negative or something bad to say about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, that just lets me know I am on the right track. You understand? Right. So if you wasn't saying nothing, then I know I'm not on the right track. But I know what I'm purpose and supposed to be here doing. So people don't see all of the glitz and the glamour and the all of the other stuff going on. Like, I'm not all in the limelight and all that. I don't really even care about all that, because at the end of the day, what I really enjoy most about anything is being able to take a pad and a piece of paper and sit there and see a song start from the beginning stage to when you hear it playing on the radio. That's, to me, that's the most greatest feeling in the world. The most greatest feeling, because it's something that you get to share what your mission is inside of your heart and soul to the rest of the world. That's the greatest, man. Money can't buy that feeling at all. I don't care what you say. It cannot buy it. It would never buy it. You know? So, yeah, that's pretty much the thing.
He shared that story with us. Are we still doing good over there? Oh, okay. So, I'm glad you touched on this topic. We talked about purpose. So how does someone find their purpose? How do you know this is for me? I'm going to go in. I'm going to go all in. Second part is that question is, should you have a plan B, which A is your purpose? Should you have a plan B?
Nope. Because the first part of that, how do you know where your purpose is at, is whatever you like to do. I get a lot of excerpts from Bishop, because that's my bishop. That's my covering. One of the other reasons why I moved here to Texas.
I didn't know that.
Whatever you like to do that you could do without getting paid to do it, that's your purpose. That's one of the ways to find out that's your purpose, because you don't care about the money at that point. The money will come, but you don't care about it in the initiated start of it. You don't care about if you get paid for it. Right? That's how you know that's one of the indicators. Let me make that clear. One of the indications that is your distinctive purpose in life. Second part to your question is, you were created, you and all of us were all created for a purpose, for a reason. Otherwise, you would have still been a thought in whoever's mind at that time while you were being created. That's the only reason you're here on this earth. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that, because I've been on Facebook since you pulled up, arguing with people about a post I made about that last night. When I found out that two people that I know that's in the music industry passed away, I'm talking about like within days of each other. You know, they say Charlie Wilson passed away too today. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I have not really checked on it. I've heard of it. I don't know if it's really true. But if that is true, that goes back to my post. People are checking out of here left and right unexpectedly. Just and people think this is a joke. It's not a joke at all. My thing is back to your question, so I don't get off a topic or deviate from topic, is that the only reason you were born is for God gave you a distinctive purpose to do in this world. I don't know what that may be. You have to find that out and figure that out what it is, from what I said earlier. But everybody has a purpose. That's the only reason you're on this earth. The only reason you're here. If that makes sense.
Okay. And then you said something that's very intriguing. So let's say, cool, I love doing whatever this purpose is. Now, there's two things that determines any and everything, which is time and money. So if you don't have time, then you put up the money. If you don't have the money, then you put in sweat equity, which is time. So what do you say to someone that's like, man, okay, I love doing music, but dang it, I was losing track. You see where I'm going.
You're doing good.
What was it? Okay, cool. So we were talking about it earlier. It's all good. We were talking about it earlier. And we had a conversation where she was like, man, okay, I really want to do this music thing, but I might just get into real estate or car sales because I can't pay for music. So what do you say for someone that's like, man, this music thing is my passion and purpose. I just can't afford it. So how can we afford it and do it if we ain't got the money?
Well, timing is everything too. Timing is everything, but also if it's your purpose and if your distinctive purpose, let me quote unquote say that, God will make a way. God will make a provision out of your vision. Right? That's scripture. Right? So He'll place certain people in your life to help you, to give you those opportunities to help you along the way. If it's in his timing. See, you hit on the key element, timing. Can't be our time, can't be my time. It's gotta be God's timing. If it ain't in his timing, ain't nothing gonna happen. You just keep doing whatever you're doing until he says it's time for you to do whatever it is you say that you want to do. It's all about timing. Period. It goes no other ways.
That was actually really powerful, right? You got any questions too you need to ask right there? Okay, so now we're gonna go into then versus now. Okay. So the you then versus the you now. What is the difference when it comes to, we're gonna stick with the topic of music. Music and business.
So you wanna know my then from my now.
Yeah, what's the difference? Is there any change?
In like both business and music?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm doing everything that you see right now, that you're inside of right now by faith, right now. Every last bit of it. Ain't nothing like, I have probably over $500,000 worth of stuff in this building invested. This is my investment. This is my savings in this. Wow. See, I've had other recording studios in the past. Some I didn't have to really pay to keep the upkeep on them. They were just there. But this one here was my first time being out there, like where I got to actually pay to keep the lights on. So I do what I have to do to make sure that happened because I have a purpose. You know, a lot of people dictate and say this and say that, the naysayers or whatever. Like, you don't never have a lot of people coming in and out of the door. And to be honest with you, I said, you know what? Actually, I thought about that deep a couple of days ago. Somebody actually said that to me. I said, you know what? I said, well, what's funny is though, I said, isn't it funny how God brings you back to where you left off at? Right? Isn't that funny sometimes how God does that? Because
you keep going.
sometimes I would say from all of the other studios that I have done in the past and that I had in the past, where I left at in that frustration era and not wanting to do it again, he was like, guess what? I was there all along. You just needed to go through what you needed to go through so I could get you ready for where you at right now. That's purpose. You know what I'm saying? So all of the trucking and logistics that I did, I saved up. In that 10-year, that's what I was doing, and didn't know that I would eventually have to come back to all of this. But that's what I was doing because it was starting to come back onto me. Like, you need to really get back into doing what you've been called to do. And so I was just saving up money, just here and there, you know, not coming home, staying gone for months at a time. I mean, like, we talking an 18-year stretch, just working. I didn't even see home sometimes. I would be out in different states of the world. I would just that was my home. That was my home. I would pay my rent and stuff, send money back. I wouldn't even come home. That's just how it was. To get to where I'm at right now. So where I'm at right now, is, as I stated, is all by a walk of faith. I'm walking in divine purpose right now. So whatever my transition that's getting ready to happen now, it's going to be a story and a testimony to tell to others. Kind of like what you said about singing. Of how I got started and about paying dues and all that type of good stuff like that. See, when you're faithful in something and you stick to what you know to do, you just gotta trust and believe that it'll carry itself out. That's why, like, I ain't sweating about nothing, because all of this in here is an investment for me. It's an investment, you know. So I'm able to keep my lights on and everything and still do what I gotta do. But what's more important is getting this album and this project out, because it's gotta come out now. The timing is right for it to come out now. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get all of this in the time frame that it had happened on. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Everything is all about time and everything. See, what's so great about God is that you see, because that word timing is so key element to a lot of people's situation, is that timing is so precious that if you do something out of the will or out of your timing, sometimes God will kick your butt.
Oh man,
like,
I know what you mean.
And you do not want to do that. You do not want to do that. I'm telling you. But when you're in the time and in His will, everything just flows like water. You turn the faucet on, that water just streams down. But if you just cut it back a little bit, it starts to choking. That's how timing works. The Davidical order, they call it.
That actually makes sense. I never really thought of it like that. Interesting. I know you. You got any questions to ask on that? Anything to put on that one?
Oh man. Okay. Well, you said that this was a leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know it's time to make the leap of faith? You know what I
Good
mean?
question.
How do you
Good
know,
question.
like, with decision making and things like that, how do you know which decision is the right
The right
decision?
one to make at the right
That's
time.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just told my banker this today. How do you know when the time is right? Normally, I learned this from Juanita Bynum, long time ago, her and her brother Tom Bynum. Because I asked that question, the same question, and I was at a church service, and she replied back right there on the stage. She said, how do you know when? She said, it's because normally, right? Normally, I got to say that normally now, right? God usually, ever heard of how the Bible says God works in mysterious ways, and right? Okay, so that's going to apply to this. So, typically and normally, God does things that we don't think that has to make us scratch our head. Like, really? You want me to do that? Really? That's what you want me to do? Like, no, can't be for it, right? Them little times, like them little instances that be like kind of thrown off to you, they don't feel like they don't feel like they're right. That's a clear indication that that's God speaking to you. That's your spirit. That's your inner man. Your inner man. Your inner man. Your inner court man. So that's one of the times when you know which one is right. You will know. If you're connected spiritually like that, you will know. There ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You will know. Because it's something that's going to burn on the inside of you that you just never can, no matter how you try to shut it out, no matter how you try not to talk about it, it's going to always be right there. It's going to keep coming back up. God is trying to get your attention.
Well,
What?
no, I'm listening.
So if that makes sense, like I didn't know that I was going to get a building, because I was really looking for something else. Like I was looking to do a house where I could just put what I want to do, in another part of my house or on the outside of my property. But the quiet is kept. That's actually what I'm actually in the purpose or making of doing right now. So when I'm done here, that's my next move. That's gonna be my future home. My what I really, really want to do, like my dream, my build out studio. This here, I feel now was a comeback for me, and it was also for me to get this album done. And to build up other relationships along on what's gonna happen in this next transition. You know what I'm saying? So, in the title of this new album coming out, by the way, you won't believe it. It's called No More Struggles. That's the title of this album. Now, this title was given to me 12 years ago, and we're in 2023. So I didn't put it out back then because it wasn't relevant back then. Most of the world was moving pretty decent, but now you look at the world. What's going on in the world now? It's all kind of ham going on out in the world, right? All kind of stuff bad going on. So that title in itself, No More Struggles. Like, come on, your struggles is over with, right? What you talking? That's the, you know what I'm saying? So it gives you an idea.
Oh no, you good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I just got a couple more then.
Okay.
You said, let me see real quick, please. Okay, you brought up relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I know relationship is a key part, especially in the music industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, how do you build and maintain relationships?
Like, we're talking on a personal level.
Let's say,
or just in the or business, either or. Which one?
Let's say in the music. We're gonna go music. Let's go music.
Okay.
And if you want to touch on personal, you can touch on the personal too.
So business relationships, and you want to know how do you build up on those business relationships?
Find them and maintain them.
I would say sometimes you will find them. Other times they'll find you. Goes back to your purpose. When the doors open up for you, that's part of a door being opened up and opportunities opening up for you. This is what I said earlier about flow. It's like signal flow. In the technical world, we call all these wires and stuff and gadgets, we call that signal flow. Each one of these lines got to be connected and hooked up to something to make something else work. Right? That's how the Holy Spirit works through us and through other people that God gives us. Right? So that's how you build up. your business relationships, sometimes it'll just flow. The signal flow will just flow like it's supposed to. You ain't got to do nothing. It will just flow. That's how it works.
And then what about maintaining it? So maintaining it would be the same thing, though?
I believe so, because God gives us a choice, not a chance. Not a chance. He always gives us a choice. And the reason why I say it like that is because the choice is for us to do good or do bad. God don't say, hey, here go your chance. I'm going to give you a chance to do good or bad. Nah, he don't do that. He got nothing to do that. He going to give you a choice. He said, look, I got this over here. This is over here, but I got this over here. Now, it's your decision to go which way you going to go. Remember the old cartoons where the devil was on here, Lucifer was on here, and the angel was on there? That's how you got to look at it. That's how you have to look at your life. God gives us that choice to go do this, or you going to go do this over here. Which one you going to choose? You can't choose both. You got to choose one or the other. So that's how you can do those.
And kind of, it's funny you say that, because they say when it comes to you having problems, it's a compound of the choices that you made. So you just don't get into a situation by one single choice. You get into a situation by accumulation of choices that you made, which leads up to this big situation. It's like, man, well, I did this. And so that makes a lot of sense right there. I'm like, wait a second, what is he saying? So I'm going to touch on 2 more of these questions. And then if you have any questions, you can just, snatch the mic up. You know how to do it. So we're going to dive into some of the music business. And we're going to give like 3 tips. 3 tips. And then we're going to do 3 tips. So what are 3 tips that you can give someone about the business of doing music, or the music business?
3 tips.
Just 3 tips. We're gonna keep it simple, because they gotta do the work. They said
3 tips. I would say, stick diligently with your craft, and know your craft. Know your craft and know what it is that you're doing inside out. I don't care what it is. It could be engineer, artist, band, singer, whatever it is you do. Know your craft inside out. You're never going to learn it all, because you're going to always learn stuff every day differently that you could have done. But just know your craftsmanship, all right, so you to be better at what it is that you do. And second one would be, I would say, hard work. You have to be a hard worker. You cannot be a person that don't have any staying power. As a pastor told me before, it's called staying power. Some people, and what I mean by that, to give an example, is, let's say you work a 9 to 5, or you work in the music industry or whatever. You may want to get somewhere eventually, but if you ain't getting there fast enough, you just like want to crap out. Sort of like I gave the story earlier about how I just like kind of checked out, but necessarily I didn't check out. God just had me on a pause for the cause to get myself right, because I'm giving out lyrics and writing songs that's supposed to be about inspiration to other people. So that music is going to touch some people. So if I'm touching people in the wrong way, God not going to let that flow and happen, right? Sort of kind of like that, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, let me hit on that. Hard working is a must. You cannot, you may not get a hit song on your first album. You may not get a hit record or song or whatever on the second one. Eventually, if you stay hard working at it, at your craftsmanship, eventually you keep knocking on the door, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen, right? It's called consistency. You have to stay consistent with whatever it is that you're doing. I don't care what it is that you're doing. The more you stay consistent with it, the more it's going to pay off, and you will reap those benefits that you put all that time into. That's simple physics. That's simple physics, right? Third thing would be your surroundings, your company that you keep. If a person can't multiply, add, subtract, or divide for you and around you, get rid of them quickly.
Get rid of them?
Get rid of them.
Why?
Because they can't go where you're trying to go. They're going to be a distraction for where you're trying to go. They always say it's lonely at the top. That's a very true statement. It's lonely at the top. I'm on my second marriage. I'm just hitting on personal because it's part of that, right? I'm on my second marriage. I didn't think I was going to get divorced after the second time go around. She couldn't deal with this. Like, she couldn't cope with all of this.
Right.
At first she could. It was great. But when I started getting into the grit of it, the more meat of it, They're like, nah, man, hold on, pump your brakes, son.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Everybody's not made to go with you. Some people are on your life to be a great friend and whatever else, and some people are meant to cut completely out of your whole equation of everything because they cannot go. They're going to be a distraction. Nobody that's successful in this world will have a story of some type of the ones that have worked hard. I ain't talking about the silver spooners, because silver spooners don't know the meaning of working hard. They had everything handed out, but the workers that had to work to get to where they're at, they all got a story to tell. It's a reason why they got a story to tell, you know. So that would be my third one. Is like your surroundings and the company that you keep, because that's a key. Those are very key elements in your success and whatever it is that you're trying to do out here in the world, you know. It's a shame. And then I'll say this: COVID-19, COVID-12, COVID-35, whatever you want to call it, that right there made me a believer, and it made me it showed me the real of people, even my family. It showed me who the real people was, because here it is, and I may be drifting off topic a little bit, but good. At the end of the day, COVID showed me all of the Christianity that I grew up believing and knowing, and some of the stuff that I've learned for myself. I look back at some of my family peoples and was like, wait a minute now. Hold up. I'm a PK. Everybody know what a PK is, preacher kid. Y'all talked about all this God this and how God is so great and God gonna protect you and all this type of stuff. Okay. COVID-19 comes into the building, y'all. Where all that God stuff go then? If that ain't the truth, I don't know what is, because that happened all over America. That ain't just happened in Texas.
Right.
That happened all over the world, this whole globe.
The world, yeah.
The world. You understand? So that right there made me understand more about going back to purpose and your three key elements about the people that you keep. I've had to cut and disassociate some of my family members based off on COVID-19.
Family members?
Yeah, I have. And what I mean by disassociated, meaning I love from a distance. I love from a distance. Yes, that part. I have a close friend that tells me that, oh, that's her favorite word. That part. I've been using it ever since.
That part.
That part right there.
Yeah.
Like that part right there. You know, if I could say something else on TV, I'm going to try to keep it PG. But yeah, that part right there. Because at the end of the day, people phony out here. People phony. And I can't stand to be around phony people. You know, it's amazing how I take Facebook, for example. You make a post. And you quiet, you may say something every blue moon, every so often. You may do your little rants. That's what Facebook was built for. That's what the algorithm was built for, to speak your mind. Yeah. Within reasons, right? You ain't gonna go in and say, I'm gonna kill somebody. Like, within reasons, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that you want to get out there and make a little post about something, your little rants rate that you hardly ever do, here come everybody got something to damn say. Excuse my French. Everybody open their mouth and got an opinion to say about something. Nah, forget you. I'm gonna say what I want to say. That means I'm on track doing what I want to do. Now, who died and left these people in charge and left these people in judgment to say what you saying is wrong? But wait a minute. You just said something stupid that I know I saw a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. But you want everybody to be in agreement with you. But let me say something though, and you got a prop. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's funny and fake acting to me. And that's another thing about this COVID-19. It has showed me people in my family and friends. People just phony, man. They phony and they fake it. I don't like to be nowhere around it. That goes back to what the third element. Yeah, that goes back to your third key element about the music, your surroundings. Because these people, hold on, we got a little alarm going off. Let's see here. Okay, these people are going to either make you or they're gonna break you. And your success to the top. I'm telling you, sometimes God puts the flag right there in front of you. Like, look here, stupid. I want you to cut these people loose. Don't go this way. Don't go down this street. Don't go do this. You know I'm telling you, but you still gonna do it anyway. That's how you know. That's a serious issue. That's a serious issue right there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my thing when it comes to three key elements. And the last third of the key thing to your rise to get to where you got to get. I'm not where I want to be at yet. I'm close. I'm closer than where I was 10 years ago, though. I tell you that, though. I'm very much more closer. You understand? So, yeah, man, that's the thing with that.
Now, I'm glad you said that. So, I know the purpose. So, overall, what is that driving factor, Mr. Omar, when you was like, man, okay, I don't feel like going to the studio today. But what's brought you back? Like, when you was like, I ain't feeling it.
Good question.
Very good question. That's actually that question is probably so deep. Dang, let me see. Like when you had them little instances that come.
You know what I'm talking about? Because it happens, especially. So there's two. It's really two parts because you have some people that's doing things that they don't like doing, and then you have some people that's doing things in their passion, and they just like, man, what happened to that love? So it's really two parts to it. So, but what's brought you back? What's bring you back?
Two parts to this reply. The first part goes back to your third about people. When you let the wrong people in your circle of friends and people that you hang around, whatever energy that they're giving off, if they're the wrong people, that energy is worse than cancer themselves. It's worse than any disease
That
out here.
bad.
It's that bad because that negativity stays on you and it stays around you. So, therefore, second part of what my reply to you is, if you get rid of that cancer and those people that's cancerous to you in the negative sense, you will never lose that tenacity of this burning, this fire burning inside of your gift and your callings. You will never lose that intensity like that because you don't have all that negativity around you. This is why you got to keep your mind. You got to keep your mind free. You understand what I'm saying? The Bible says that everything comes from the renewing of your mind. How do you renew your mind?
Yeah.
Get away these cancerous people that's causing all this hell in your life. Like what? Like seriously? Come on. You got the magic potion for it right there. Get rid of these crazy people.
I can't let go. So then what do you do?
If you can't, no, you should definitely be able to let go. It's not that hard to let go.
Because like, okay,
you can definitely let go.
So like I got like my mom's, right? She been there for my G-Mall since 16. We had this conversation and she just can't let go. She was like, well, you know, that's your mom. You always supposed to be there for your family. So like, how do you even just, you know what I'm saying? It's like
when it comes to that close to home,
yeah, especially like
gotta cut them fools off too.
Even if they sick, you know, it'd be the worst thing you gotta let go.
That I got a good figurative of speech. Love from a distance.
No matter what, sick,
love from a distance.
What?
If some people ain't right, some people ain't right. It's human nature. They just ain't right. I can't. Okay, look, I'll give you a good example. Forget this. We gonna take this to a different level, cause I get geeked up when I talk about stuff like this, right? So you got you got a person that's on drugs or on alcohol. They have classes to help people do that. At some point, you may have a person that stay free and clear for a long time. Guess what? What triggers them to go backwards? Just let me ask you that question. What triggers them to go backwards?
They probably hung out with an old friend.
Exactly.
And then boom, it's like take
exactly, because the class teaches you to stay away from where you came from. Don't look. Tupac said it best. Why are you looking in your rearview mirror? There's nothing behind there. That's gone. You can't get it back no more. You got to stay this way, right? So something is always going to trigger something, right? So that's the only reason why. That goes back to what you just said. If it's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, the dog, the cat, whoever it may be, if they ain't right, they ain't right. You got to figure out a way to love them from a distance. You can't. The old saying is, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. That's a very factual statement. And anybody from the street or from the hood, as we call it, will understand what I just said. You cannot. That girl is like that. She's built like that. That's what she wanted to do. I don't care how much church of God she get in her. She's like that. So
leave them alone.
Let them be where they at. Let them stay where they're at. Let them stay where they're at. They have, she said, your friend said it best. You have to find yourself. And until you find who you are, until God heals you, That means finding your own place to ask God to heal me and help me from whatever it is. Until you find that, you can't expect nobody else to take you there or walk you there. So that goes back into cutting people off and loving these people from a distance. You understand? Until they get right themselves within here first. You can't expect nobody else to be right with you. And you can't give out no type of advice for somebody else to be right because, hell, you ain't living right. You ain't right yourself. So it's just like me singing about a God I don't know or I don't have experience with. That was something on my first album that I had an issue with. That was wrong why my album didn't take off like I thought it was going to, quote unquote, take off like it was supposed to take off. Because I didn't know God for myself. You understand?
Right.
How you gonna sing about the prodigal son? Like everybody in the world that's that's a Christian and that's God fearing know what the prodigal son is. You know, one son was good, one son wanted to know why I can't have what the other one have. You dig? So you gotta. I had to ask myself that. How am I gonna talk about the prodigal son? I don't even know about the prodigal son. I just know what's in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So God had to take me on this little pause for the cause with a little bit of jail time, you know, and say, look, I need you to get right. You gonna sing about me and preach and sing and preach and teach about to my people out here in this world. I control this world, right? I control my people. You gonna put all this out here and you don't even know me for yourself. I need you to get to know me. Then I'm gonna give you that mantle to take over. That's how it's gonna work. That's the Davidic order. You see what I'm saying? So that goes back to saying, yeah, if they're your mother, your dad, whoever, just love them from a distance and keep moving because you got a purpose out here to do in your life. And if you don't reach to it, then God don't need you. He like, man, I can just call you home right now. I caused you to do something that I need you to do in this world. You to be the great doctor. I need you to be the person who cures these diseases that's going to come about. That's why I birthed you and brought you into this world. And if you can't do that, I can expire you. You can go back to where you can go back. That's how deep it is.
That's crazy, actually. That makes a lot of sense. And then, okay, so what was the second part of that question? It was the passion coming back to the studio then?
Oh, yeah, that one.
So then, we said the family, and then...
What brought you back?
What brought you back to the studio? Like, what was that driving factor? We know purpose, but like...
That brought me back. You want to know that driving factor that brought me back? I just got tired. Like, I got tired of, like... listening. Like, I tell you what triggered it a lot, though, and that's part of the tiredness. So, I would, like, even though I wasn't really listening to other artists' music, because I think the gospel industry sucks, to be honest with you. Right now, the gospel industry, and the Christian community, and no, what is it called? CCM, contemporary Christian music. That's the CCM side. It's all the same, but it's just got different styles of flow of music. That's all. We all talking about the same guy. At least I hope we are. But all of the industry, when it comes to this sector, it's crazy. Every artist out there. Sorry, I just had to get that out there. He's probably going to hit back on that topic, but. What drove me back, though, I tell you this, what drove me back was I was watching
I'm still
I was watching a show that my mentor, Fred Hammond, did. That is like my dude. Like he reminded me so much of my dad. My dad played bass guitar. He passed away probably about, I don't know, it's been about maybe 12 years now.
Oh,
he
man.
passed away. He played bass and he was just very musically inclined. And he was into cars, the clothes, the hats. And when I got introduced to Fred, I was like, man, this dude is just like my dad.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like a Fred into the cars, he into the bikes, like everything, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, so I started cleaving to this. And people thought I was just trying to get there because he was Fred. Man, I ain't caring about no Fred. I like this dude. I like his style, his swag. He from Detroit. You know, we got a certain swag in Detroit. So he just had this swag. Like, man, this a cool dude. Like, this my dad. You know what I'm saying? So I was watching a show with him. He was on TV, and he was on there doing his thing on the stage or whatever, and it triggered something in me. It was like, man, like, you supposed to be out there, like, doing your thing, like, you know, doing your thug thing or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's what I'm saying in my head or whatever, right? So that triggered, man, that was a big triggering factor for me. You know, watching him one night, and I was just like, man, you know what? They right, man. Like, they right. So I just started praying, man, daily. My prayer language got heavier. It got super duper heavier. And on this call right here where I'm at, where we sitting there right now, I tell you, I'm going to give you a short synopsis of something. So y'all, everybody know who August Alsina is. Mm-hmm. August Alsina got a song called Deliver Us. Right, I don't know if y'all heard it.
You heard that one?
He's got it's some other gospel one that's called The Wells or somebody like that. I think it was. I don't know the people or whatever. But I was in my apartment. This was before I got married. Like back in 2020. This was actually, we were still in the engagement point right now. And most people ain't gonna like what I'm about to say, but I knew God, but I never knew the Holy Spirit. Okay, this is deep right here. So I'm sitting here listening to this song, and it's just going back and back and back. And I'm sitting in my living room, like I don't know what I was doing. I think I was buying a piece of equipment on eBay or something. I'm just sitting there playing. That's how it beats. And I'm like, my mind is like, wait a minute now, like I'm hearing, like you know how you hear something, but you focus on something else. So the more and more it kept playing and playing, not that I knew. I'm just like, okay, it's drawing me closer to listen to this song more and more. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm talking about like, this is like the Matrix. I'm sitting down at the computer, like just doing my thing. And my couch is like right here. And my wife, I know my phone is right here. So I'm freaking out because I'm like, what the hell is happening to me? Like, I'm starting to feel weird. Like, I'm thinking like I'm either, like I'm losing breath. Like, this is really real. I'm telling you a real true story. So I'm feeling like I'm out of breath and everything. And all I could do is just like, all I remember. This is all I remember. This is no joke. All I remember was that couch was right there. And I got up from that computer and I just fell straight on my knees. And just, I lost it. I had never in my life had that happen ever before. I'm talking about out of nowhere, I'm beginning to like, just tears just this, and I'm on the floor like I am like literally, like when I say literally on the floor, I am literally like, I don't care who's around me, I don't care who's listening, I don't care about none of it. Like it doesn't even ring a bell on me. It's just I'm in an out of body experience at this point. No. And I'm still coherent, but it's something else that's taking over, and I'm just sitting on, and this song is steady playing, and I'm like, what the? I'm like, what in the? Listen, it freaked me out and scared me so bad. I had to call my wife, who was my wife at the time, and I dialed the number. I remember dialing the number. All I remember was dialing the number. I had stopped. I got a little break for a minute from tears flowing, and got enough break to dial her number because her number was the last one. And she was on video chat. I didn't call her. I video chatted her because I was freaking out. I'm like, look, something is wrong with me. You know, like I'm really like, just like, something is wrong with me. Like, you need to call 911. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out right now. And I put the phone up on the little thing, like, you know how we got the little phone clips or whatever. And soon as I said something is wrong with me, like it happened again. It was like this thing came over again. It was like, I just started wailing like, man, like, speaking in tongues, and oh my God, like, man, like this was out of the world crazy, because I knew and heard, like I knew about the Holy Spirit, but no. Like experiencing going through that right there, nah, bro. Let me tell you something, man. This ain't no game out here. When you talk about God and Christianity, this ain't no game out here to play. This is why I don't care what other people say and how they want to label me, how they want to talk about me. This ain't no game. I know God for myself. God, when God wants your attention, and the Holy Spirit wants your attention, He gonna get it. I don't care where you at.
Where you at?
You gonna get it. Like, you gonna get it. Same way like these people talk about love. When love finds you, it's gonna find you. Yeah, the Holy Spirit, when it finds you, it's gonna find you. And it ain't gonna care who around you, what you doing. You can be, He don't even care who you are. You can be a drug dealer. You can be whoever you is. When it hits you, it's going to hit you. I had never had that experience happen before. And I'm saying all that to say is that's how and why I'm sitting in this chair right now. Because all of this was all by faith. I stepped out on my faith right here with this. All of this. I was like, God, how am I going to do this? Like, I know I got to do the album. Like, I can do it from other people's studios. I can go pay studio time. I can go do all of this type of stuff. God was like, You remember? He's like, you remember where you left off at? You remember that? You remember that little part down there, right? I told you. He said, I need you to get right because you did this prodigal son thing. I need you to go back. He said, matter of fact, when you get done with this one, I need you to go back and go make that one right. That's how deep it was. See, when you have a connection, a relationship with God, the Alpha Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. When you have a relationship built that way, oh, you gonna hear him. When you get quiet enough and cut these phones and cellular things off, you go when you ask and ask him a question, he will speak. Facts.
That makes sense. And so you saying, oh, let me see this. It's gonna be my last thing. So pretty much, what I got from that too was cut out all the distractions. Be alone with you. Pretty much your thoughts. That's to be alone with God. Pray to be alone with God. Because I think what that reminded me of is like by having these phones and everything going on at the same time is like it's distracting us to be away from God to hear Him speak. So it's like, do you think that's a thing? I kind of turned it into like a statement to a question. But do you think that's what a lot of people do? Is like they try to stay distracted so they're not hearing God speak? I don't know if I said that right.
That's a good question.
You know what I'm talking about? Because
that's a good question.
We don't like. You know what I mean? It's like some people can't just.
I don't think it's. I think it's got a small percentage to do with distraction. Just like with me, distractions. But the biggest thing is, you ain't gonna like this. Most people ain't gonna like this. It's one word: fear.
Oh,
fear. People are fearful. Just like I was fearful, and most people won't admit that. Fear is a very deep word. Most people don't want to admit fear because I was fearful when I stepped out into this right here. I was very fearful.
Really?
And most people are fearful of success. They know they got the skill. They know they got the talent. They know they love God. They know they talk to God. I'm hitting it all. I hit all of the areas. But it's some still down on the inside that they fearful of getting to the top because they just, I don't know what it is, man. Sometimes I think fear is so ridiculous and random, man, for all of us because it's a part of our humanity of who we are as people. We're just scared. We know when we say what we want, but in all honesty, we scared as hell to get it. We scared as hell to get. We scared if we get it, we ain't gonna know how to act or what we gonna do with it. That's what we fearful of. We ain't fearful of going through the process. We fearful of when we get there too from the process.
That's. Oh, you said you got a question?
Okay.
That's actually my fear. Remember that's my fear. I talk about all the time. I'm scared of being successful. I have everything.
Cause it's like, imagine you get everything you've ever wanted. Like every decision matters, no matter how big or small it is. It's like you can lose it quicker than you got it. That I don't know if that is one thing for you, but it's like also just like that saying, to whom much is given, much is tested. It's like there's just so much more that comes with success, and like really kind of leads into my question. So as an artist, a creative business owner, have you ever dealt with anxiety and depression? And if so, how do you or have you dealt with it?
Very good question. Well, I don't do clubs. Never been a club goer, ever. I'm 40. I just turned 40. Well, how old am I? 45. I just turned 45 on Halloween.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
So, I've never been to a club. I've been parking lot pimping, as they call it, on from my next thing that I'm about to tell you. So, one of my outlets, I like to ride motorcycles. That's an outlet of mine. So that's what I mean by we went parking lot. We sometimes go parking lot pimping. That was back when I was rough riding it. You know what I'm saying? I ride more smoother now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, that's what we would do. So I've never been a club hopper. I've never been an alcoholic. I had a couple sips here and there. Never been a drug head. You know, I had a couple smoked marijuana back in my days or whatever. May have had some along the way to cope. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I smoke a little reefer every now and then. Whoop-de-doo. And I can still lift up my hands, can still catch the Holy Ghost. Yes, you can. That's being real, right? It's better to come real than best versus coming fake, right?
Yeah.
So, other than, I mean, those are like the key, some of the key elements as far as that, but I don't like that. That's kind of like you just have to find something to help you relieve those times when you get depressed or anxiety comes in and when you get stressed out. You know, do it within reasons. You know, do it where it's going to be something that you can remember what you did the next day. I'll just say that. I'll clear the air with that one, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't go do nothing. Like, just find your thing. And, you know, for me, sometimes, like, it used to be writing. It used to be me writing, you know. But like I say, I've been so distracted lately because I just got out of a divorce. I didn't want it to happen. I really didn't want it to happen. But it just what it was, right? But, so it used to be before all of that, I would just get, you know, I have a personal thing set up at home where I can just write and make my music tracks and score right there. If I want to come to work or come up here, you know, and I'll just begin to just making music, making melodies and just different things and start lyrics and start coming and just you write them down. That was what I used to do. You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you this, Marvin Sapp, a friend of mine, Marvin Sapp, all of them guys is from Michigan, man. He said something before, you know, and this is how much I really listen to pay attention to people because you can always get great excerpts from a lot of people and a lot of knowledge from other people, right? Knowledge is power. He said we can be so engulfed with doing the work of God, but we forget about the God who gave us the doggone work. He shut the whole church down with that one. Like, at least your church shut mine down, right? That's so powerful right there because we can. You have to take yourself at some point away from whatever it is that you're doing. You can't be that much engulfed in even Jesus had a sabbatical, right? Because when you refresh yourself, again, goes back to the renewing of your mind. When you refresh your mind, you can come back and hit it stronger. Each time you do that, you can come back and be more impactful.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just go. You have to take your break because we are human. We are not robots. God didn't program us to be robots to push a dot or a button and say, you going to do this. No, we are human. We bleed blood in all types of, we are human. We have to have rest in some point of time. You have to have a balance. It has to be a balance. Even you're saying you're trying to get into artistry and stuff like that, and you know, when you find a young man or whatever the case, but you have to have a balance with life and your personal life. You have to know that balance, but you can never go or deviate too far away from your calling and your purpose. Because if you do, it'll easily slip right on up out of your fingers. And sometimes God may not ever get that opportunity back ever again. I was just blessed that it was able to circle back around. I'm just telling you, that's life.
True.
That's life. That's life.
That's true. Like some people, they don't get that blessing. They don't get the talent back. Man, yeah, that's
you take advantage of your giftings and your talent, and you sitting up on giftings that God gave you to utilize them, right, to benefit Him, right. And you gonna see, I can't believe how people have the audacity to sit back and say who shot this and who shot Joe and all this type of stuff. But you sitting up on a God-gifted talent or whatever, and you supposed to be utilized, but you ain't using it. It don't have to be music. It could be anything out here. And you sitting back here got the not only are they have the audacity to talk about it, want to talk about other people. That, to me, those type of people like that, I like to take behind the back of a barn and take a baseball bat and beat the hell out of them. Because that don't make no doggone sense. Like, you got talent, all this skillful and talent, but you want to sit here and talk about other people that's actually out here doing something. But you got all these gifts and you sitting back holding out on yours because of why? Why? It doesn't make any logical sense. So you have to use those talents. Just like I'm a drummer. I started out, I'm a natural gifted drummer. Never took lessons.
That's crazy. Like,
I'm like, I should be out here hitting and doing it. Like, that's a talent. Them beats and stuff that I play, them driving out demons. Some kind of way. That's a gift. That's a talent. You don't just hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how you got to look. That's how you have to look at it, But I will say this, though, because I don't know if you guys had any other questions, but I will say this. When I say the gospel music industry is in shambles right now, it's so bad right now. Listen, I'm gonna tell you that this may not even been your topic, but I'm gonna tell you, this gonna piss some people off, and I really don't give 2 cents. They know this. My address is 849 J Place, Plano, Texas. Sweet D again, 849 J Place, Plano, Texas.
And you could book your studio sessions.
And you can book studio session for a studio session, real talk conversations, whatever it is you want. The gospel industry so jacked up right now. I happen to catch a show. And no offense to no artist, no bishop, no pastor. I'm not one to pass judgment. But when I see something that ain't right, I'm going to speak on it. Because it ain't right, man. We got a certain way that we need to walk by. You know what I'm saying? But I was watching a Christian show. And I think it was I don't know what's the last gospel show that they had out. I don't know if it was the GMA Awards or something. It was something where it was a bunch of people, gospel artists on one stage. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know if it was the Dove Awards or whatever it was. But somebody got up, and I just happened to catch the tail end of it. And when I looked at their outfit, listen to me, I picked up the phone and made 2 phone calls. And I said, look, this right here, somebody need to put these Negroes right here out of their misery tonight. You need to call down to that show right now, because this right here is done. This is sick. There's no way that you want to represent God, the Alpha and Omega out here. You understand what I'm saying? And you got the audacity to be dressed like a Krispy Kreme donut, shiny and flashy like that, like you out in the world. We live by a different creed law out here in the world. We don't live like the Bible says to go out in the world and go compel the people, not to be of the world. You're becoming like the world, and you're stamping God's name and his approval on it, and you want him to bless your mess that you doing. It don't make no sense. But when I saw this out there, I was through. I was done. I said, I already wasn't buying gospel artists' music or downloading. After watching that, I probably never will. That's just the God, the honest truth. Not the ones not from what I saw, not from the people that I saw. I'm not saying that every last one of them is bad. There are still some good heavy hitters out here. That's got a real contrite heart out here and a good spiritual heart. You know what I'm saying? They not out here about the flashy and the glitz and the glamour and the light. They want to live like the world and shine like superstars and shine like new money and all this type of stuff, and then stamping God's name on it for approval. I got a problem with that. I ain't here to pass judgment on nobody, but wrong is wrong. You should not be up on no stage and your outfit is blinging louder than the lights that's projecting on you. I got a problem with that. And I got a problem with a lot of the artists out here that, like, I heard, like, for example, I heard on one of the YouTube channels up there, and people don't just get on YouTube just making things. People want juicy stories. Now, the name of the game is to create real stories, because if it's something false that you're speaking about, somebody could call you potentially out on that and make you look bad and shut you down, right? So I don't think these people will have a reason to lie. But from what I was told, they said they were selling alcohol at the Kirk Franklin concert. I saw this on a couple interviews. Now I'm saying to myself, now what the world is going on? Like, I ain't been to a gospel concert or Christian concert in a minute. If they selling booze and alcohol, you supposed to be there getting the message and whatever from the music, but y'all selling it like it's like you going to go see a Beyonce. And I know Beyonce. I know her and her sister personally. So you out here going out here. You mean to tell me you can go in the front to go buy some alcohol and come right back in the auditorium or venue and lift your hands up and say, God, I'm right here. Really? Where they do this at? What state they do this in? I'm trying to remember what state this was in. Because I don't know nothing about God with this. Like that's why I say about the music industry. In the Christian limelight, it is so far out of ordinary now. It don't make no sense. Everybody wants to be so famous in Christianity. Everybody want to be like the next person. They want to make millions. You even see people flashing around on these flashy cars like they're the rappers or something like that. That's what they do. That's the word. That's what they do. We supposed to lead by example. I ain't saying you got to be like, you got to be, all stern and walk around and not do this. Now, I'm not saying all that. I'm saying taking it to the extreme. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know what the extreme is. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to be like that, man. God don't need all of that, man, to praise him and give him glorification. You don't. When I gave y'all the story about the Holy Spirit, man, when the Holy Spirit come in and his wrath come on you and come over you, that's one thing. But when God's wrath comes back on you for doing something you know you ain't got no business doing or something you ain't supposed to do, may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, you right. It ain't no joke.
Have y'all heard that one song? It's called "Shake That for Jesus."
Nah, I ain't heard
gospel,
that one.
and it's a gospel
Wait,
song.
what? Shake the what?
Shake what for Jesus,
Shake
though?
that for Jesus. And
What we shaking?
you can look it
The
up on
cheeks?
YouTube. Yes.
Oh.
And it looks like it appears to be a gospel song at first, and then it just goes left, and it just keeps going left throughout the whole song.
Yeah, that's just too bad. It's too bad for people to be. It's really too bad for people to be like that, out here in the industry. Man, this is why I say I believe it was a certain time of why I put this album was coming out like this, and it was titled "No More Struggles," is because it's like, man, we gotta wake up, man. As Christian people out here, we gotta really wake the hell up. We gotta wake up because God ain't playing with us no more. COVID-19, like I just told you guys earlier, COVID-19 was a wake up call. If that didn't wake nobody up, this next one we may not survive, whatever that may be. Cause it's something coming.
Don't say that.
No, it's in the Bible. It's scripture. It's something coming. We don't know what it is, but what I'm saying is we gotta get right as people, man, because God is on his way back. He tired of all this mess. This world is crazy. You understand what I'm saying? This world is crazy. And it's just, we just steady taking stuff out of control and out of context, man. So this is why I feel it was really important that I put this album out at this season of time, man, because people really need to hear the word, man, what's going on. And I'm not trying to say, let me make this very clear. I am not a picture perfect person at all. I got a whole lot of flaws, I'll speak on them. If the person asks me, I'll speak on whatever they want to know. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever they want to ask me, I'll speak on it. But at the end of the day, what makes me different from the next person, I try to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if I feel like I want to smoke a little herb or a little weed to clear my mind instead of me going out doing something stupider than that, right? Not saying that that's right. Versus me, and then can I still say thank you, Jesus, in the same sentence? Yeah, I can. You know what I'm saying? Hell, God made the weed. It grow from the earth. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, whatever. People can pass judgment on whoever. Like I said, I'm not here to pass judgment on nobody. But if we don't get this stuff together in this Christian sector we call music out here in this world, man, look, I hope I ain't nowhere around when it all falls down, when everything comes down. Man. I hope I ain't nowhere around.
So, I mean, really, that's everything, y'all. I appreciate your time, Mr. Omar. Thank you, Ariana. So, real quick, before we end everything, how can people find you, Mr. Omar? How can we find you?
Website is Rosa Lee Studios with the plural s.com. That'll take you to all of the links and everything you want to go know of. Again, Rosa, R-O-S-A, Lee, right? L-E-E. Then studios, plural, with an s.com. Very easy to find. I'm pretty sure all of the descriptions and all that will be up on the links and all that. I'm pretty sure at some point in time. So that's how you find it. So come check us out and let's make some real music or whatever. Don't bring none of that garbage down here. It's got to be on some real stuff and we can make something happen.
If it ain't real, you going to let them know, though.
I'm very transparent because that's nothing. I don't want to lie to people. The record companies didn't lie. The record companies didn't lie to me. Now let me say this. So I asked them, why did y'all pick me? Because I can't really sing like that. I ain't the greatest singer. I can hold a note though. I can hold a note. I can hold a note for a long time. That's obvious. So I guess that would consider me somewhat of a singer, just because I can hold a note. I may not be able to do every riff and run like this artist or that artist, but that ain't, in all honesty, that ain't really real singing. That's not real singing. Just because you can do a riff or a run, that's not real singing. That ain't never been real singing. Because you can do a long riff and you can do a long run, that ain't singing. Frank Sinatra was one of the greatest singers. It was one of them. Did you ever hear Frank Sinatra do any licks or runs, any smooth runs that we done? Or let's take it even further. Let's look at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is an entertainer and an artist. Michael Jackson can sing. Have you ever heard Michael Jackson do a run like this person in this sector of music? Have you ever? You've never. But guess what? Michael Jackson Thriller album is still one of the highest sold albums in the world to this day. And he's dead and gone. He ain't have to do a riff to prove his point to his audience. He just who he was. Just be who you are. Singing is singing. Singing is not riffs and runs. Singing is about, it's all about, at the end of the day in this music industry, it's about the tones. I want to hear the tones of a bass guitar, the tones of a key. It's the tones, the pretty tones, the melodic tone. That's what makes people come back and say, man, I want to hear that song again. Anita Baker's. You listen to all these soulful songs from me. You can sit back and listen to them type of songs for hours. Just keep them on repeat because they so smooth, man. She ain't doing all that riffing and running on there. She just singing. She's singing from her soul and her heart. You know what I'm saying? We can relate to that. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's how you gotta look at it, man. That's how you gotta look at it. You know.
Look, like Miss Omar said, I mean, y'all need to come up here, for, of course, all transparent. I didn't even know that. Did you know that, Ariana?
I thought that if you could do riffs and runs, you were like top tier singer.
No, actually, that's it. That riffs and runs and licks. Like I'm a drummer.